And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest episode of the Sling'N podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Kent.
Yes, you are.
Oh, boy.
Someone's been messing with the teleprompter again.
I know.
Kent, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good. Been busy. So, folks, something you might realize, we do not have a guest this week. While we have a break in between guests that we've invited over, we figured we'd take an opportunity because with the increase in new gun owners, and even still with some of the original gun owners, Kent and I are seeing some pretty cringeworthy things, both in and around the range. We still have people that come to us and ask us questions about certain things to purchase to support their new firearm. Whether they choose to carry it for self-defense or home defense or whatever the case might be. Some of the same mistakes are being made. So this episode is all about holsters and belts. We talk about some other support equipment, but primarily going to be focusing on those two main implements. Not all holsters are created equal. This may surprise you, but there's a lot more to this than buyer's remorse. The wrong holster is also a safety concern. And frankly, we wanted to help educate you on this topic. We have talked about this a little bit in the past, but it's certainly worth revisiting in case you missed one of the previous episodes. This is certainly a topic that we'll be revisiting again in the future, I'm almost certain. So, Kent, I think we should start with the obvious, right? What makes a bad holster?
Not so much what, but who.
I think that's a fair point. Okay, so let's run this down a little bit, right? So, leather, good or bad?
Depending on implementation.
Okay, we'll come back to the so the leather part's a little bit more complex. So we'll come back around to that. How about neoprene?
I can't think of a good example.
Right, and neither can I. All right, so I think that kind of leads us down the plastic fantastic alley, right? So Kydex, I think there's another one called Bolteron, other various thermomold plastics, right?
Yeah, we can agree that the plastics are generally good.
Yeah. So let's touch back on the leather real quick. Mm-hmm. So let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit. So new gun owner. I really like me some fancy leather. I like to wear a good belt, maybe some, a nice matching leather holster would probably go good, for the aesthetics and whatnot. What are some things that people should look for?
So for me, leather holsters are about revolvers at this point. It's the only real reason I carry a leather holster anymore.
For your revolver. So yeah. The archaic technology for the archaic technology.
Yeah, well, first of all, outside the waistband, right? Because I'm not going to rely on a leather inside the waistband holster because it is likely to collapse. And if it collapses, I'm not going to be able to reholster. Or if it collapses, it might collapse itself into the trigger guard and give me a new piercing that I didn't want. So outside the waistband only. And for those of you playing the audio game, check out the YouTube video for this one because I've got my Box of Shame holsters next to me, but there are some good ones. This particular is a Safariland 2752 QC 1900. It is for a Ruger GP100 4-inch gun, left-handed with a thumb brake. Outside the waistband, kind of drop offset brake.
Okay, so let's break down what makes that a good holster, right? Mm-hmm. So leather, double layered, preferably.
Might even be triple layered. This is a thick holster.
Yeah. So here's the cheat solution for you folks. If you pick up the holster and go, damn, that's thick with 2 C's.
Yeah,
it's probably good enough. You want, for the best comparison I can come up with is saddle grade. If you can see the rigidity in that holster and it appears to be equivalent to that you would find on a Western saddle, it's probably going to do you pretty good. right?
Most importantly, it's almost impossible to collapse the top of the holster up here.
Right. And if I remember correctly, knowing Safariland, because it is a Safariland holster, I'd even be willing to bet they probably have some type of a Kydex or plastic style core to that. For as rigid as those things are, like, can you get any collapse? Yep, there it is, right there. You can see it,
right in the middle.
Yep. So in this case, the leather is there to protect the gun.
Yeah.
So that's a safe bet. So for a lot of people, and I know this is probably going to catch some hate, but I mean, leather holsters, and when I say archaic technology, I mean it. That over time, now is a brand new holster, a brand new quality leather holster going to be really all that much of a safety concern? I would say no. The problem with leather is that it breaks down over time. It's skin, it's flesh. And like all things flesh, they eventually, rot and dry out and degrade, and you lose a lot of that protection that comes along with it. So also I've noticed that leather holsters are really, really stiff, especially on the draw and the reholster. And if we take into account, the drawing sequence or the most dangerous time for anybody that's, trying to operate a firearm, it's going to be on the draw and the reholster. Right. So we need to be cognizant of that. So if we can all agree that Safariland is probably one of the makers of some of the most premium level holsters on the market, and they're using Kydex even with their leather holsters or some type of a plastic reinforcement, it should tell you something. And just for the record, Kent, you're the bookie, right? We're not getting paid for this by anybody in particular.
No. This is stemming from multiple conversations and questions and classes and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna like maybe slay a few sacred cows here. We're gonna recommend some stuff that maybe you've not heard of so much. This is way less about brands and more about design and style of product, right? So I can
agree with that.
I don't really care if you get a Filster or if you get a Tier 1 or, if you get a Dark Star or whatever you get. But good stuff is good stuff. And not so good stuff is generally not so good stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just real quick, since I reached into the holster bin of destiny and hatred, here is a Bravo Company G19 holster from back in the day when we didn't carry red dots. And Kydex holsters don't break, right? Except they do. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can get that on camera. See that crack right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That bad boy's cracked. Pretty much out of service. And it's cracked, of course, right where you would attach the struts to attach the plastic belt loops. So that one's pretty much a goner. It happens. But
yeah,
back
absolutely.
to your...
That's you touched on an interesting point, because I think that is a valid point for this discussion. While I think there's no secret here now that both you and I prefer, Kydex or the plastic fantastic holsters, or at least we favor them, right? They're not without their own flaws. Leave them in a hot car in the middle of summer. They will deform. They are susceptible to breakage if they're not made properly. I will say that there are some companies that I think have done a pretty good job in easing those stress points. So anywhere there's a sharp corner or a sharp bend, just like, blade steel, if you're making a knife or a tool or something like that, or blacksmithing or anything like that, it's going to break at whenever there is a sharp corner or angle. There, you have the potential to induce failure and cracks in the structure there. But yeah, there are some. Like I've got a matter of fact, at least I had it over here. Where'd it go? I had. Okay, now I'm missing a holster. It's probably in my box somewhere. I have a black or a Bravo concealment holster. Never had a problem with it. Had a problem with it. Yeah. But that being said, your mileage may vary. Take caution when you're making your purchase. But I will say this: if you're looking to get into it, if we're talking about spending, $30 or $40 on a Bravo concealment versus say $30 or $40 on a Black Hawk Serpa, we're gonna go Bravo concealment all day long.
Yeah. Let's see. Some generally bad ideas. Let's talk about some generally bad ideas. How about a reversible holster, such as this item for Black Hawk for a Glock 43 that can go one side or the other, except the retention screw only tightens in from one side over here.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you have it reversed, the little flappy retention device is what actually touches up against your belt, which allows the holster to do this. Clamshell shut.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, sir. No, bad idea. And looky here. Oh, this is going to stay on my belt real nice and belty.
Yeah, belty. It's a word. It's a word.
This I did not purchase. This I confiscated in true Clint Smith fashion.
Give me that shit. It doesn't deserve to be on a belt.
I wouldn't have that holster on my ass if I had room for a crowbar, I believe is what he said in the video.
Oh, God, we've got to get him on the show, please.
Okay, I will.
Please. It's just going to be 90 minutes of him yelling at us. I'd be perfectly okay with that. But yeah, so folks, we're going to, look, we try not to talk too much smack about other companies, but the reality of the situation is when it comes to Black Hawk holsters, the holsters that I see them making for the general public are substandard, in my opinion.
I'll give you an exception.
Now, hold on. They're duty holsters. I think that might be where you're going with it. Their duty holsters actually seem to be okay.
The Omnivore doesn't suck entirely.
Which is a duty holster.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, it's a level 1 retention holster, but I mean that is a universal. I would almost call that like a competitive outside the waistband, whatever. But it doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't.
It takes its retention from the light. So
right, but at the same time, duty grade holster, right? While yes, agreed, we would very much likely see that. We're more likely to see that on the competition range. I think we're probably equally as likely to see it strapped to an officer's belt.
I'm just now realizing that most of my good holsters are in my range bag in the truck, which I might have to go get, other than the one I was wearing today. But moving on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, all right. So we do have a question in the chat from our dear viewer, Bullet Sponge. Pointers on how to make Kydex comfortable or more comfortable for newer shooters. Great question. So while we are talking about Kydex holsters, right, one of the biggest complaints is around their comfortability, right? To quote another Clint Smithism, you're carrying a 2-pound piece of steel in your pants. It ain't supposed to be comfortable. But with that being said, there's a couple of hacks, DIY things that you can do. One of them is quite simply a yoga block. The foam yoga block, you typically get them for $5 to $7 at Walmart or on Amazon. I got a 2-pack of them because I play around with that stuff for, making knife sheaths and stuff. But you can cut a wedge off of it and stick it to the back of the holster. And that really does 2 things for you. One, it creates a little bit of distance between, let's say if you're carrying appendix. Keep in mind, these are inside the waistband holster modifications. So it creates a little bit of distance away from the pelvic area where your leg meets your torso. So right there in the groin area. Also adds a little bit of cushion. So not only do you have the distance and not allowing the edge of the plastic holster to dig into your hip or into your groin, you're putting some cushion back there, which is always appreciated when you're dealing with rigid plastic synthetic materials, right? The second thing about that is it can also help with the concealability of the overall payload, if you will, by pivoting the holster away from the hip. You're actually driving the grip into your stomach a little bit more. So it keeps that profile where you might be printing through a t-shirt a little bit more compacted up against your body, and it makes it easier to conceal it. So that'd be number 1. What's another mod, Kent?
I wouldn't call it a mod, just as much as I would call it Make sure that you adjust the kit and ride height of the holster based on the belt and pants that you're going to be wearing. A lot of folks don't realize that, like, here, we'll use the floodlight as an example.
Visual aid time, folks.
Folks don't realize that the holster comes with multiple places to mount your struts for your straps or for your DCC clips or whatever you might be running. And as such, you can cant the holster and, change the ride height up and down. So a lot of people will have a hot spot in a Kydex holster and they don't realize that they could change one little adjustment and get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 100% true. So I would also say, so hold that holster up again one more time. So, folks, the soft loops with the military grade button snaps are a fantastic, option for securing the gun or the holster to your belt. Generally pretty comfortable. Those are also adjustable. So they come with 3 different holes that you can adjust the screws in, and what that's intended to do is to be adjusted for the height of your belt. So if your belt is 1.5 inches tall, you should probably be in the middle hole. If you have a 1.75 inch belt, that's the furthest hole from the button or from the snap, I guess is no, that would be the button. Yeah. And then you can go to 1.25 inch belt by going to the hole closest to it. As you look at these things, you kind of get an idea for it. I can say that I have not only that same holster, but I have the Spotlight, the smaller one for the Glock 43 and 48. I went to that middle hole in that soft loop, and it really tightened those soft loops down to the belt really, really well, and holds the gun a lot more secure. It holds the holster much more secure to the belt. And I've noticed that it actually helped with the concealment, because while I could get the gun to not print, I would notice in a loose enough t-shirt, even those soft loops would print a little bit because they're coming away from the belt. So by actually tightening them up and sizing them properly to the belt, disappeared just like that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll have to. I'm gonna end up going to get more holsters because this is just fun. So here's one from the Box of Shame. This one was made by www.theworstkyDexholstermakerever.com/he couldn't get my order right after 3 attempts. So if you'd like to go find it, I'm not going to mention the company name, but this is a right-handed holster, even though I ordered a left-handed holster about 6 times. And it's a chest holster, and it's just about the worst design ever for an H-harness chest holster. It was meant for a Glock 40 MOS with a red dot on it. It's not cut for the red dot. Then I told him, hey, man, the red dot cut was jacked up, so he just did the old sent it back because that's what you do. Anywho, long story short, if you're going to buy a chest holster, buy the Kenai chest holster out of Alaska for your big old revolvers and your G40 MOSs and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so those Kenai holsters are pretty awesome if they're made right. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Kenai holster made by, who was that made by specifically, or is the name of the company Kenai?
Might be Simply Rugged.
Simply Rugged, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I want to get one of those for my Glock 40 MOS for hunting.
Yeah.
Probably this year would be nice. So interesting comments coming in so far. Love the engagement, folks. Keep them coming. So Gunset comments, holster comfort is a weird combination of body type, pants size or style, holster features, and a good sturdy belt. Different combos work for different people. As I spit all over myself, I apologize. Generally, I would agree with you. With regard to I think the body type is more going to dictate how you carry. Right? Not so much the holster. Now, I'm not taking away from your comment. It's absolutely true, broad spectrum. But I would argue that the holster comfort, with respect to body type only, is really going to come down to how you carry. Some guys, Kent, you've lost essentially an 11-year-old boy in your weight. But even when along your weight loss journey, even then, at your heaviest, you were able to carry concealed, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
And you carried appendix, right?
I carried appendix after dropping like the first 20 or 30 pounds.
Okay. And
I could do it, but I couldn't conceal it.
Okay. And before that, what was your preferred? Was it strong side?
Something a lot like, oh boy, too many holsters. Holster overload. Where'd it go? I had it, and I said, TJ, this is not a bad example. And then what happened to it? It left. There it is. So this is from Black Rhino Concealment.
Another good company.
Right? This is a Kydex holster meant for strong side IWB.
And for those playing the home game and maybe the
unindoctrinated,
IWB is inside the waistband.
This is from so long ago that it doesn't even have a red dot cut. What does that tell you? This is for, and it's for so long ago. This is for a TLR-1 and a Glock 17. But yeah, this is what I would carry concealed in. And I mean, I wore holsters like this a lot. This bin is full of similar holsters to this. And
right.
if you look at it, I mean, look at the profile between the floodlight and this thing. The floodlight's actually a smaller holster. Conceals better, carries a bigger gun, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the time, I just had too much Dunlap going on, and there's no way I could carry appendix. Now, that being said, I'm still not a small dude, right? I'm 280 something right now. And I'm carrying appendix just fine. So guys that are in that 300 range, you can carry appendix. I carried appendix in the 330s.
Right. And even still, so back when when you and I went to Jedi's class, I was about 260. That whole class, both of us ran appendix carry. So certainly doable. But yeah, I would say to your point, Gunset, that the body type, that comfortability is just going to come with the method of carry that your body type will allow.
Absolutely.
So, but to that point, belt and the holster, it does make a difference. As a matter of fact, so I've got the Filster floodlight. I've also got a Tier 1 concealed. Both of them quality holsters. I will tell you hands down that the features and the way that the Tier 1 concealed is profiled is far more comfortable, and I carry the same gun in. I would even carry more in the Tier 1 concealed because I've got room for a spare magazine. And I can carry that appendix and be totally comfortable. I actually see that there is a little bit of discomfort at times with the Filster floodlight for me. Kent, however, loves the Filster floodlight. Never had a problem with it. So, yeah, I think to your point, there are certain comfortability factors that you need to take into account. Now, sadly, that is one of those things that it's going to be, you got to kind of try out a few. I would much rather see somebody buy. We talk about buyer's remorse. I would much rather see somebody buy a quality holster, $100+, like the Filster floodlight, I think is $115, $120, something like that. Or $150-ish for a Tier 1 concealed, and realize that one is not necessarily as comfortable as the other, and have two quality holsters that they have to choose between, then pay $115 for 5 other holsters that are substandard and absolute garbage. And put themselves at risk or anything like that. Let's see here. So
want to see another steaming pile of garbage?
Oh, absolutely. We're always down for, aside from this show, you mean.
Ready? I'm a little holster, short and stout. Look how much my clips flex out. I'll never stay onto your belt. That shot through your leg is what you felt.
Did you just come up with that?
I did. I really did.
Dude. That's probably the best Kentism ever.
This is just the worst. I'm not going to mention the brand.
We can't even see it. It's not clear enough.
Lord.
Yeah. So, Gunset also mentions that he hates those soft loops when they're new. Sometimes those snaps refuse to unsnap. So 2 things on that. One, they're directional. They can break in, and to your point, it does make it easier. But
Somebody
I will
say keeper's concealment. I'll be right back.
yeah, I will say this with those snaps. So I use a lot of those in the holsters or the sheaths that I make for knives. I have gotten some where there's a kind of a piece of a spring clip almost. It actually looks like a bronze O-ring that's inside that's meant to hold that together. They've been out of place before. All those snaps are made in China to some degree. So be mindful if that little brass piece on the inside of the snap is out of place, get you a new one. And you can get those things pretty cheap. They're like $5 a piece on any knife maker supply store. I buy them by the dozen. So tier 1 concealed, absolutely. That's my preferred holster. But like I said, I still have the Filster Floodlight. All right, let's see here. What do we think about the Flashbang holster for ladies?
No,
from Jordan Bradley.
He's being funny.
No, I mean, my only issue with it, at least in the original versions, it was all soft, really soft leather. I think they have one now that's Kydex, but I put it under the realm of the shoulder holster. If I'm going to point a gun in a direction that would be otherwise considered unsafe, I would rather it be pointed down at my femoral artery than at a bystander next to me or behind me in the case of a shoulder holster. So I'm not a lady. I don't have a bra anymore. So I wouldn't wear one. I wouldn't recommend one for my wife either. Kent, what do you got to say on that topic?
I have yet to see somebody. I had a elongated conversation with a famous internet instructor girl who swore up and down that they could draw that gun from that holster without flagging themselves and other students to their left or the right on the line.
But it's always pointed to either the left or the right.
You can't do it. You literally cannot draw that thing without flagging yourself or somebody else, kind of like a lot. So
right.
No, I'm not into it. And even if if you do the whole go down to get the cover garment and come back up thing, you end up in this fucking position here, which I don't know. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Don't recommend. 1 star, would not revisit.
1 star. Here's something that is 5 stars, would and have and do revisit. Somebody mentioned, I think, who mentioned keepers? Was it Gunset? Yeah, Scotty mentioned keepers.
Yeah.
So Spencer makes great kit. This is the cornerstone from keepers with the DCC clips, retention adjustable, ride height and can adjustable, all that good kind of stuff. Velcro on the back for the included foam spacers. This version is for my G48, which works just fine in it. I really enjoy carrying the G48, mostly because of this holster. So, yes, hell yes.
Yeah, we've had Spencer on the show. He's a fantastic guy. And here's one of the cool things. This is a bit of a sidebar here for the Kydex piece. If you are one of those people that really likes to support small businesses or small craftsmen, the lowly guy that's got a shop in his garage, shopping around at Kydex holsters is a really good way to do that. You can't not find a person that makes holsters out of Kydex on the internet anymore. It's kind of a flooded market. With that being said, do your homework because they're not all created equal. Spencer is certainly a guy that we would recommend. Fantastic guy. He's a shooter. He knows what he's talking about. It's kind of like, who would you rather, build you a muscle car? Some guy who understands science from the lab coat side, or an engine mechanic that's been racing for 30 years?
Right.
They'll both come up with a race car. But I'll take the guy with the experience who actually lives the lifestyle. over the lab coat guy any day of the week.
Absolutely. So we mentioned these guys earlier. Here is a chest/belt holster from Simply Rugged. You can tell it's from Simply Rugged because it's got the Rob Leahy stamp of approval right there. This is for a GP100 4-inch gun as well. It's my 10mm match champion. Like a glove, right? I love this setup. I really do. Matter of fact, I'm going to shoot me some IDPA next season with this gun right here.
Yeah, that's when we shot the GP1, when I came up to visit you, I remember taking that out. And while I thought for certain that holster was going to be under the floppy category, actually surprisingly well made. It's very deceptive. It's very deceptive. Also, folks, let's just just to touch back on the leather holster piece. Most holsters come in packaging that can be easily opened. If you get an opportunity, take the holster out of the packaging before you purchase it and inspect it. Check it out. Look at the flex. Look at how well, if at all, it caves in when you squeeze it on the outside. Really examine these things if that is the direction you're going to go. Though I'd still recommend going for Kydex.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's see. What else do we got here? We're getting plenty of comments. Wow, this is amazing. We must be striking a nerve, bro.
I knew it.
All right, so let's see. Flashbang. Okay, from Bullet Sponge. Any traction modifiers peeps might prefer? My wedge allows my grip to sag after a long day on the range. I find myself constantly adjusting. Traction modifiers. You know, if we're talking about your grip starting to sag, I think that's more of a belt problem. The wedge should be helping with that, but if it's actually sagging, that's a belt problem. And we're going to get to the belts here in a little bit. Unless I'm missing your question, Bullet Sponge, I'm going to rule that's a belt problem. Kent, would you agree?
Yeah. In his case, I think it's a combination of that. And I think he doesn't need as much wedge as he actually has anymore.
That's a valid point. Yeah, resize the wedge to your body, guys. That's why so Spencer, the Keeper's Concealment, he sends 3 different sizes with his.
Yep.
I think Tier 1 Concealed is kind of doing the same thing. They have a package. It's like 3 different sizes you can get. But if you go get a yoga block and cut off a large enough chunk and start chipping away at that thing or slicing away at that thing, you can really custom tune that wedge to your body type. But I would also say, if we're talking about traction, there is, of course, always the good old Dr. Scholl's gel insole or insert mod as well.
Yes.
But I don't know how well that would hold up if you were sweating.
Oh, he sweats. I make him sweat.
So,
let's
see here.
How about pocket holsters?
Okay. I'm not a fan, honestly. I'm not.
All right, let's do it.
I'm not a fan, but we can certainly talk about it. I mean, you're the one that lives more in corporate America than I do. I'm literally in. Oh dear God, the trigger's uncovered.
What's wrong with that? I don't see a problem. No, it's the wrong guy. Well, here's the thing.
That looks like it's molded for the gun that booped you in the nose, or no? Wait, that's the one that failed you like twice.
This is for the SIG 365.
Okay, so not the bad one. I was thinking of your Ruger. Yeah, tangent while Kent grumbles under his breath. Go head on over to Green Mountain Defense on YouTube and check out his Ruger LCP review.
Yeah, you and that's like my favorite, like the review on my channel that's got the most traction. And all it is dudes that can't shoot to save their ass calling me fat and stupid and saying, no, but my gun's the best gun ever. And I'm out there with like pieces coming out of the gun. I'm like, I don't think this is a gun anymore. Yeah, no. Bad day. Bad day. Anywho, this is for the SIG 365. It is very double triple E thick leather. This is from J&J. holsters, apparently. And, it actually works. Corporate America, yeah, pocket carry, something to throw in your basketball shorts. Jordan Spradley said about, like, hey, what if you're not carrying with a belt, basketball shorts, and all that kind of stuff. Something like this will work if the gun's light enough. The 365 is a decent little package for that, right? 12 rounds of 9mm you can put in your pocket isn't the worst idea in the world. I will say, though, that your draw is going to be measured on a sundial, not a stopwatch.
Yes.
But you got a gun.
The deeper the concealment, the slower the draw. I would say that at least from my experience, the belly band, and I know this is contradictory to what we've said already because we're talking about, a good holster is a rigid holster, preferably one that you cannot pull the trigger through, right? The belly band holsters are actually pretty solid. If I'm wearing basketball shorts or running shorts and I'm going out for a run or, doing the exercise thing out and about, I do like the belly band. Since we had her on, Miss Tiffany, who has educated us, Kent and I, on the modifications and prototyping that she's been doing with Spencer Keepers, to have a Kydex insert to the belly band neoprene or elastic holster, I'm down. I'll pick that up as soon as they get one of those going. But I will say this: when I'm carrying the belly band, I do not have a round chambered. I'm absolute Israeli style carrying that gun.
Oh,
because I can pull the trigger through the holster.
No, I know. I just it hurts.
Yeah, but if it's about not having one or having one and taking that extra safety precaution with it.
Yeah, I guess I get it.
I'm also, a 30-ish, male in decent physical condition. I know how to fight.
Yeah, there's that.
As you keep playing with Velcro right into the microphone, what is that abomination?
This is one of those things that's meant to be molly clipped onto the front of your AR 500 armor. And it's supposed to be a holster. I don't know how it works.
It's like a tactical taco.
Like that, I guess?
Yeah, that's what we'll call quote unquote working.
I never used it. It came with a plate carrier I bought.
Okay, fair. Thank God you never used it. I would have to publicly shame you.
I don't know how it works. And instructions.
You don't need instructions because you should never wear that holster.
Right. Let's see what else.
Oh,
here's a little leather belt slide piece of shit. That you can daffy duck. So that's not good. That'll fold right in on you. One of those deals.
Yeah, but at the same time,
that worked pretty good. I might just carry that tomorrow.
Yeah, but at the same time, as floppy as that thing is, maybe you can demonstrate kind of what it looks like when it goes into the trigger guard.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah, let's clear the gun. We don't need a desk pop live.
Well, this one won't actually.
Okay.
But because of this corner right here.
Because it's
wide
wide enough.
Yeah, I got one that will. Hold on, we can make that happen for you. Here's one that will. Don't ever cross paths with this breed. Just, that right there. That's all it takes. Right?
Yeah. And of course, our favorite, one of our favorite Apache Solutions members is in the chat. Frank, what's up, buddy? Why is floppy bad?
Well,
why is floppy bad?
The scary part is this little nubbins. See, look, mine already wants to do it, right? It wants to move inboard and cover up your access to the outer Kydex shell. Which means that when you're holstering this gun, what you end up doing is kind of fighting trying to get the barrel down in there, and you can get that. You see that little floppy spring back action that just happened there? That's too close to the trigger guard. At least this one is nubbiny enough. This is wide and nubby enough that, it's not getting into that trigger guard. But it'll sure as hell foul up your reholstering process. And what you then see is you inevitably see your student doing a reach around method to try to get the gun back in the holster and playing with their flop while they've got their hand on a gun and their other hands below the muzzle. And
yeah, boys and girls, don't play with your flop, especially on the range.
No, do not play about your flop on the range.
All right, so let's see here. It's his Airsoft holster. That's a good one. Referring to your tactical Timmy. Yeah,
because I play Airsoft.
That's about the only thing that I would trust something like that to, is an Airsoft gun. Let's see here. Okay, so bullet sponge. You only need to worry about drawing the gun. Once it's out, it's out, right?
I love it when you ask softball questions like this.
Yeah, your sarcasm holds no bounds. I love it. This is why we associate with you. So, Ken, actually, I think that's a good point. Let's talk on that, because there is kind of that mentality in some circles, right? They're usually wrong about a lot of things, but speak to that point. Do you really only need to worry about drawing the gun?
Well, I mean,
why?
I don't know. Maybe because, after you've been the good guy with the gun in public, it would probably be a good idea, once you've figured out that there's no additional threats to deal with, and you've done a good job of making sure that your current threat, whatever that was, is no longer a threat. Maybe you might want to reholster, or during manipulations, you may need to reholster your gun because you only have one hand for some reason and you need to reload, or because you may decide that you didn't need a gun after all and it would be couth to put it away. Any number of those reasons, I need to be able to reholster my gun. Yeah, so
if you guys head over to my YouTube channel, you'll see that I did an interview with the gentleman from Q Series holsters. This is a very minimalist Kydex or thermomolded plastic. I don't think it's specifically Kydex. And for the record, Kydex is a brand of thermomolded plastic. Could either be that or ABS plastic, something of that sort. But he was an air marshal. And one of the requirements for federal service holsters that they're going to use undercover or when they're in plainclothes detail requires them or necessitates them the ability to not only draw but reholster the gun one-handed. That's actually a stipulation. That's a requirement. I'm sure there's plenty of documentation out there on the internet that actually justifies why. And while we can easily get into a whole episode about lowest bidder and the government is not the most efficient thing on the planet, I will say this: when it comes to tactical considerations for policies such as that, it's generally on good grounds, good reasoning. So to some of the points that Kent said, and even Paint It Black said, in the chat here, to apply medical, if you need to go hands-on, being able to put that thing away one-handed without further encumbering yourself or the process is a good thing. It's a mark of a good holster. I
just realized that Landon's handle was painted black. I thought it was a PA license plate, 1N7, 1TBL. Never mind. I get it now. It's painted black.
I love you so much, buddy.
I just,
It's okay. It's all good. What you got there?
Here's a nice minimalist holster from Filster. This is their I forget what model for the G48 and 43 and 43X. It's not a spotlight. It's not a floodlight. Anyway.
Don't they call that their city special or their
something like that?
Skeleton, something or other.
The skeleton.
Yeah, check out Philster.com, PHLSTER.com. You can see a lot of these holsters on their website as well. Once again, guys, we're not being paid by anybody. This is not an endorsed or sponsored episode. But, Philster and Tier 1 Concealed are holster companies that Kent and I both trust and rely on, and we have no problems recommending them to you or giving them their due shout outs.
So this is interesting because it's very easy to tuck.
Yep, it's got a bit of a
tuck strut.
A strut there. Yep,
it's got the real aggressive loop with the bajillion dollar snap, right?
That whole loop, $5,
right?
Yeah, whole loop, $5 right there. Like I said, I buy them by the dozen.
I hate to say this, but in this case, Philster has been replaced by keepers for the same gun. Because
I'll be honest with you. I'm a big fan of what Spencer's doing with those discrete carry concepts clips.
Yeah, man.
Those things are stout.
Here's another good not real pants holster with the ulti clip on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ulti clips. For those of you that might to our point about supporting small businesses, right? The guys over at the guy over at UltiClip has these things manufactured and resells them both individually and to holster companies. And he uses them to support mission trips. So if you're all about, getting down with Jesus and doing the missionary thing, going abroad and helping those less fortunate, a little bit of charitable work, giving back to your fellow man, and you want to support a good cause, UltiClip, it's a good brand, good company, and it's a just cause.
Did you say something about doing Broad's missionary?
Yeah, look, dude, I was referencing a Jesus mission trip or a Christian-based mission trip. You're being very disrespectful.
Okay, I'm sorry. All I heard was I was digging in my bin over here. I'm sorry. Safari Land. Can't go wrong.
Yep, can't go wrong with Safari Land. That's another
level one.
I'm going to tell you, you will pay a premium for a Safari Land holster, though.
G29. Because Daddy likes to hike. It's a good little setup, right?
G29.
Yeah, 10 millimeter.
Yeah. I haven't seen one of those in forever.
Oh, dude. Don't screw with me while I'm hiking.
Fair.
I'm saying.
No, sure. I said bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody
anyway.
knows. Sophie's pet name for me is Bear. Now we know. The reason why is because I kill bears when I hike.
And sometimes when you hunt.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, UltiClip, again, that is another option. I've got one or two of those laying around the house. I haven't found quite a use for them yet. But, yeah, especially – I will say this, especially for the ladies. I don't know when this came about, but there's a lot of women nowadays that aren't a big fan of wearing belts.
Yeah, isn't that true?
Fair. You do you, boo-boo, but at the same time, you kind of need something to make sure you can hold on to that holster. Not a huge fan of off-body carry. There is a time and a place for it, I think. But generally speaking, keep the gun out of the purse. If it's so much better served on your person. But if you're not wearing a belt, good option when you're not wearing a belt is the UltiClip.
Yeah.
And yes, Sarah is in the chat. She mentions that many skirts don't even have belt loops. Fair point. I'll be fair. I'm a bit out of touch with that one because my wife is not one of she is a jeans and t-shirts kind of girl, not really into the whole dresses and skirts thing. So, but fair.
Fair enough.
And let's not even talk about fake pockets.
Oh, here's one.
Yoga pants and leggings. Oh, you have a holster that you wear in your yoga pants, Kent?
Well, no, but here's an example of a terrible idea I tried to fix, and it just got terribler. I should really throw some shit away. So this is for a Ruger LCR, and it was floppy at the toppy up there, right? It was coming together, and it was going to get in the trigger guard. So I said to myself, I know what I'll do. I'll just give that the old snipperooski. I'll just take that right off, and now it didn't work. Again, another terrible duckbill, quack, quack, quack. Squeezes shut real easy. Belt loops push in. Gun's not going to be able to be reholstered. It's awful. Are you laughing at the fact that I quack, quack, quack?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, Jesus Christ.
It's just...
I don't know. But we need a soundboard. We need sound effects. I'm telling you.
It's just a terrible idea. If you could do this with your holster, it's not a holster.
Pretty much. Barely qualifies as a coin purse.
Right.
All right. So let's see here. Bullet Sponge again with the good questions. Can athletic wear be made to support the weight of a holstered gun?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I would say depends on the athletic wear. Yeah. I know that none of my shorts that I wear when I'm like running or doing any type of outdoor exercise or going to the gym with, that's not holding up a gun. That's why I do like the belly band. It will support it, and I'm not relying on the quality of the shorts or the pants or whatever it might be. I'd be willing to bet there's a lot of leggings and like the athleisure wear that you see a lot of people wearing these days. That's not going to support one much either. So the belly band style carry would probably be preferred. That being said, and I wouldn't necessarily go for a run in these, but in my jiu-jitsu gis, the pants that come with judo and jiu-jitsu gis, the drawstring in those is like mooring rope that would use to anchor aircraft carrier to the dock.
Right.
That'll hold that shit up real easy. Right. But then again, you're not really running in that.
Not very far anyway. But yeah, you got to have a good point there. So here's some more better product. Some Black Rhino concealment and some C&G holsters, IWB rigs with the single double reinforced plastic clips. These work out pretty okay. Actually, this one belongs to Mrs. Hauer. She's sporting a much better holster these days, but she carried a G43 in this for a while. Worked out pretty okay.
Well, no, so your listing that one is okay. What was the biggest complaint with it? Was it the clip?
No, it just isn't. It's not. It doesn't have that like thermo molded thing going on, so it separates up here, and it wants to collapse sometimes. And also because of the one size fits all nature of this clip, some ladies' belts are not 2 inches thick. God forbid, right? Mm-hmm. So it only worked with very limited wardrobe for her.
Right. That's fair. I will say this, with some of those, you can get the discrete carry clips directly. I actually just ordered a few myself and replaced them just to try them out. Because Ken, I've heard you talk about them. Think about that too, as folks, as we talk about modifying holsters, take a look at some of the aftermarket options for belt attachments or clothing attachments, I should say. I would say that the DCC or the DC clips, I could probably rock a pair of jeans without a belt, and that would hold on pretty damn well.
Yes. Most of my athletic shorts are sized for Fat Kent, so they're a little loose as it is. But if I had a pair of like men's large or men's extra large instead of double or triple extra large athletic shorts like I used to have to wear, which I don't have any. But I will say this. I wore the DCC clip holster in like board shorts this summer with no belt. And the cornerstone worked out great. So that worked cool. Here's a Black Hawk belt slide over molded Glock 26 holster that does not suck at all. This is actually a great holster. It's a little extra thing to throw around in case you have it. And because it's got a hole in the bottom, it can really hold any Glock.
Right.
So if you have to, this is a great holster. I keep this in the box to take to trainings for when people, chances are they're going to show up with a Glock and chances are their holster's going to suck. So we can at least put this on and get through the day, so to speak. I want to go out and get my range bag and get all the cool guy Safari Land stuff and everything else. Here's another G19 with a light Safariland single retention.
Yeah, those Safarilands are sweet. I posted a link on our Facebook page, folks, for the Safariland duty holster that I just picked up. That is currently on my range belt, war belt, whatever you want to call it. Frankly, I wanted one with retention or active retention, and having that on there was nice. Fantastic belt. I got the Cadora wrapped one. Really, really quality holster. With that being said, before that, because I do want to touch on it, I mean, you can't really be on social media and talk about Kydex stuff without mentioning T-Rex Arms. So these guys are local to me. I've had the pleasure of meeting actually damn near all of them at this point. I have a couple of their Ragnarok holsters. I like them just fine. My only complaint with them is no retention. It is a friction fit only. And if you're going hands-on, or if there's an indication, somebody sneaks up behind you and grabs your gun, I want something more than just the friction of the holster holding my gun in, right? That's why I switched to the Safariland. But honestly, if they went back to one of their currently discontinued models, I believe it was called the Titan, that had a thumb brake on it for a little bit more retention, I'd have no issues going to that either. For things like USPSA or IDPA matches, I think they'd be certainly fine. Or if you're just going to the range, if it's just a range thing, right? But my range belt is set up for multiple purposes. One of those requires that I maintain positive control of that firearm at all times.
Yeah.
So
Blue Alpha gear for me these days.
Oh, for belts?
Their EDC. I wear their 2-inch EDC belt with the Cobra buckle. I really like that. And if I need a leather belt, I wear the Crossbreed.
Yeah. So with that, we can switch over to the belt conversation. Okay. Once again, not endorsed, not sponsored. We're giving this information of our own free will and experience, if you will. So we've got a couple recommendations. So Paint It Black actually mentioned for belts, Galco or Big Leather. He might be referring to Bigfoot Leather.
Yeah.
Bigfoot Leather is amazing. Saddle quality leather with a spring steel core, if I remember correctly. And Faro Concepts. Great companies. Really fantastic stuff there. Paint, thank you. Also, I'll add on to that, like what Kent said, Blue Alpha gear if you're going for nylon, or for a duty belt or a war belt, quote unquote. I also, because I sometimes have to go to the office, so I have to put on clean jeans, right? And a nylon holster doesn't really go with that. So I have actually one of these, which is the Next belt. This is one of those belts that has the ratcheting mechanism in the back of it, just for the sound effects. Little ASMR here going on. And that thing locks in nice and tight. It's adjustable. You essentially custom cut it to your size. But from there, I mean, you can see how long that track is. I mean, that's a good 12 inches of track. And there's a 1/4 inch increment. So this is a really tunable belt.
I have a question.
Shoot.
How does that tracking interfere or not interfere with the loop for your clinch pick sheath?
It doesn't at all.
Okay.
And the reason, and I'll try to show everybody. So if you look at the tracking, right? So there's the tracking, but it is completely flush.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
With the inner layer, right? So this is, I want to say this is a 2-layer. It's 2 very thin pieces of leather, comparatively, right? Like the Bigfoot holsters are stupid thick. This is certainly thicker than your average dress belt or jeans belt, if you will. In the South, we have jeans belts. They're like, when you want to iron your pants before, you got to iron your jeans before you go to church.
You never know. You might run into the preacher at the Piggly Wiggly.
Right. And God help you if he tells your mama. So, but yeah, so this one, I've worn it with every holster, every concealment holster that I have. I've worn this with my little pokey thing, knife sheath, other knives that I've made, other sheaths that I've made. And this thing holds up pretty good. It does start to sag. This is actually my second one. I actually probably need to cut this thing down since I lost so much weight. But this is my second one. The first one of these I had for about 3 years before it started to wear down on me. And the only reason it started to get that bend in the back of it is because I've got a huge ass. Or had a huge ass. Yeah, it was my body shape that dictated, and obviously heat and sweat that caused the leather to deform. And I got that little bow that would go across my where it would go right over my tramp stamp, dude. Spring break 2003. Oh, God, what a year. But yeah, it started to do that flex. Oddly enough, it did not start to flex or deform wherever my guns were.
Do we have a... Never mind. I know the answer to that question. I'm just looking.
An affiliate link? Funny you should ask that, Kent.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting some comments on the belts. Let's see here. Miss Albrecht.
Hi, Sarah.
Love the Blue Alpha low-profile EDC belt. I am actually wearing that belt right now as we speak. Sturdy yet narrow enough to thread through belt loops. Ladies' belt loops tend to be more narrow and is hard to find a carry belt. That's true. Yeah, if you can get away with wearing nylon, you can't go wrong with a good Blue Alpha Gear EDC belt. Kurt Sills, great guy. We had him on the show as well, talking about his product line. Yeah, Kent and I swear by it. Even my war belt is a Blue Alpha Gear. Great company, great equipment, very high, very well made, and a lifetime warranty too. So if it ever starts to, I actually did return a belt because the Velcro started to the loop side of it started to degrade a little bit.
Mine's doing that right now, and I'm just buying another one.
Right. I said it about. I will do things like that just to test the warranty and make sure that a company's good on their word. This is, of course, before we had any type of affiliation or association or acquaintances with the company. And yeah, I was like, well, they say it's lifetime. This is just wearing down from basic use. Replace it. They're sure as shit. They sent me a brand new belt.
Yep.
So yeah, they're good on their word. They probably got it like, this ain't worn down. It's barely broken in.
Right.
Let's see. Bonus doesn't set off metal detectors, referring to the EDC belt. They do not set off metal detectors, but if you are not pre-checked, they will make you take that shit off.
Wait, what does the Cobra buckle sets off?
No, the Cobra does, but the regular low-profile EDC that has the plastic pieces,
right.
There's no metal in it.
Right.
Because I thought I was going to be slick too. I've traveled to plenty of airports in my life. I was like, yeah, I'll just wear a belt that doesn't have any metal. What are they going to do to me? Yeah, they still made me take that shit off. I was like, yeah, well, then I got TSA pre-check, and now I just walk right through.
I like it.
How do you circumvent airport security? By paying $83 a year.
Yeah, like Al Qaeda don't have a credit card.
Yeah, apparently you can bribe your way past them, apparently. I'm joking. For legal reasons, those were jokes. Let's see here. Corey's in the chat. Welcome, Corey.
Hey,
Glad to see you, buddy. Blue Alpha all the way. He used to use 511, and Blue Alpha blew them out of the water. Not surprising. Yeah. Bullet sponge, that's what she said.
Yes, indeed, it is what she said.
Okay, so Sarah claims that she has flown about 10 times with hers and not had to take it off. I say that is gingerist. They are targeting me because I am a ginger.
Yeah, well, the problem is you thought you were in a metal detector. Turns out you were in a soul detector, and it didn't go off.
I didn't pass. I didn't pass the test. Story of my life, man, I'm telling you.
So, real quick, just a quick sidebar. This past weekend in class for the handgun fundamentals, I made every student tell a joke to begin class.
Oh, God help us all.
So, would you like to hear the joke that I led off with?
Oh, this is one you let off with? We're not going to get a quality one from your students?
Okay. Well, I don't have to tell you.
No. The world is waiting, Kent, please.
What do you get when you mix golden retrievers and poodles in art class?
I have no idea.
Doodles mostly.
Oh, God in heaven. This is why we don't have sponsors.
We have affiliates. That's fine. And people like us. People like us, damn it.
We can be likable. At least we can keep telling ourselves that, because our therapist told us that it was a good idea to reassure ourselves of positive thoughts. Oh man, that's awesome. So,
I thought it was good.
It was quaint. I'll give you quaint.
That hurts.
I love you, buddy. But let's keep podcasting, please, because God help us if we start doing stand up. So belts and holsters. I think we pretty much beat this dead horse a little bit longer, don't you?
I got one more thing that we can go into, and this is something that you do that I don't do. So you're the only one on the show can talk about it.
Oh God.
War belts.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. No Tango war belto. Don't even have one.
Okay, entertain the folks, and I'll grab mine out.
All right, let's do it. So, in TJ's world, the war belt is for competition, right? IDPA, USPSA, stuff like that. And he's got a well set up, go to war fighting belt with pouches and dump pouches, mag pouches, med gear, all that kind of stuff on it. I just don't have one of those because I don't have a reason to. But that being said, I'm kind of interested in having one, to train with. And Sarah asked an excellent question. So take us through it, dude. What do you got there?
Yeah. So, all right, folks, this is the war belt, right? So, like I said, Blue Alpha gear. I'm a man of my word, right? So this is a double layer belt. It is, or a 2-belt system rather. Let me remove the inner belt. So the inner belt is quite simply a Blue Alpha gear low profile EDC, right? This one just happens to be multicam to match the war belt. Plastic buckle. When this is fastened, it hugs real nice and tight. But you'll notice that it's all fuzzy. It's all loop tape on the inside, or I guess the outside of this belt. Inside's just nylon, right? The main belt, which is this behemoth, has the hook on the inside of this. So this keeps the belt secure and in place. It won't allow it to rotate on my waist, right? It won't slide around. As we go around it, you can see I've got my my new Safariland. This is for my Glock 34 with a Surefire X300.
6335 DO.
Yeah, whatever that one is. I can never keep those things straight. I do keep a multi-tool on my belt.
Okay.
You never know. Of course, medical.
Tearaway med pouch?
What kind of, sort of. On the inside, so this is actually the one from T-Rex Arms. It has an insert. So kind of, sort of Tearaway. It doesn't come off the belt, but the inner, like, it's all, as you can see, it's all self-contained, right? Got kind of an inner pouch. It has an easy access tourniquet spot on the bottom of it. So I've got a nice tourniquet down there.
Is that right at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, that's right up my lower back.
Now, how does T-Rex Arms reach that if his arms are so short? Never mind.
Go for grabbers.
Right.
I've also got I've got the T-Rex Arms dump pouch. I used to have the Maxpedition large roly-poly dump pouch. That thing was way too damn big. I could probably fit a gallon of water, like a gallon jug of water in that damn thing. It was enormous.
Yeah.
This one, a little bit more efficient, I guess I should say. And it's also got built-in bungees that'll strap around your leg and keep it from flopping around. I actually wore this. I took this off, this belt, and wore it when we went to Jedi's class, so I could dump a bunch of magazines in it, and it worked out great.
All the magazines.
All the magazines.
When you go to class, have all the magazines.
Yeah, and for mag pouches, I have a Blade Tech that sits kind of at the call it the 1130 position. So as you can see, in reference to the buckle, I've got one that's angled off that way, and I've got some G-code Scorpion holsters or mag pouches, and these have the Ranger clips that actually thread through the molly webbing.
Yep, I got a few of those over here too. Like
and of course on the holster, I've got a thigh strap as well. That just makes it that much more secure when I'm running around with it.
Did you do the nub mod to the ALS yet?
Not yet. Honestly, I don't really think I'm going to.
Ooh, do it.
No, the reason I kind of don't want to is I bought that holster for a very specific reason. And if it ever comes down to a point where, maybe I'm AIing with you on a class that's got maybe Leos in it, I don't know. It's not on the docket. But hey, if it happens, I want to be able to demonstrate those skills with an actual bone stock holster, because generally speaking, they're not going to be allowed to make a whole lot of modifications to their equipment for legal reasons and stuff.
There's a lot of dudes with badges running nub mods.
And that may be true, but I would think those are the exceptions to the rule.
You're probably right.
Okay.
I think everybody needs one. That's all.
So either way, I want to be able to demonstrate the skill with a bone stock holster. The only thing that I've done to that is I took off the little shield that goes in front of the thumb release, just because it was a pain in my ass. But yeah, so that is my war belt, and it's a call it a war belt, whatever. I went with Blue Alpha Gear because they make a good holster. I wanted a belt that if I was going to wear it as a range rig, or, shit hits the fan, grab something and go, I've got everything on my belt at the bare minimum. And that was actually a habit I got into in Iraq and Afghanistan, was keeping a belt that was fully equipped with like a bare minimum. And I'll explain why later. But I wanted one with molly webbing so that the mag pouches and holsters and stuff that I would attach to it would stay in place.
Yep.
Otherwise, you either have to bolt them to it, like with the Safariland QLS forks, it's a good system. Don't get me wrong, but again, I wanted I wanted the molly webbing, and with the Ranger clips that G-code holsters uses, they work perfectly. Doesn't move. Actually, I dread ever having to reconfigure that thing because it holds them so securely. They're a bitch to remove.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons that I keep a belt that is rigged out, as opposed to like a plate carrier or a chest rig, I have those things. But when you're in and around a place, or might find yourself near a body of water, or for any other reason that you might need to dump your vest, maybe it catches fire, or you fall into water. If you have to dump your vest, at least you still have a fighting combat load or something to sustain the fight on a belt. This is kind of a habit I've gotten into over all my deployments, and I still live it even in the civilian life. So,
dude, the thought of a vest catching on fire while wearing it is petrifying.
Oh yeah,
that would suck.
It's nylon, dude. You get burning diesel and oil or hydraulic fluid, which has been known to happen.
Oh god.
Especially oil or hydraulic fluid, because that shit has a really high flash point, as I'm sure you can imagine. It's practically napalm at that point. Once it catches fire, it's going. It's burning whatever it touches.
Yeah.
You're not snuffing that out. So, having also being able to distribute your combat load. Yeah, I'm using combat load, right? So if I've got 6 magazines in a chest rig, first of all, I'm probably 2 layers thick, so I'm already that much closer to the steering wheel or the dashboard of a vehicle or anything like that. It makes you really front heavy. Also, that's a lot of strain on your shoulders. If you can take 3 of those mags off and put them on your belt, and you can distribute that weight between your hips and your shoulders, it's a much more comfortable hike. And it also it makes you a little bit more low profile. So you're adding a little bit of maneuverability to that.
Watching dudes try to run double stack mags and then do prone in rifle class, I find that hilarious.
Yeah. So Bullet Sponge asks, his war belt tends to sag on the magazine side due to weight imbalances. How does the inner Velcro belt handle a full loadout? The inner Velcro belt is actually pretty flimsy. I've still got it right here. Now, I would wear this for EDC. I actually have worn this for EDC. But it's very, very twisty, flexible. Like, it's pretty soft, and it's intended to be because it's meant to be worn really tight. You're not IWBing or inside the waistband carry with this and a war belt on, right?
Right.
Although you could, I wouldn't carry like a Glock 19. I'd probably go super subcompact, like a Glock 48, 43, something like that. But you're just wearing that inner belt between the war belt and your pants. So you're supposed to tighten that down pretty snug because that's going to dictate how tight you can make the outer belt, and that just secures the whole thing down.
Yeah. I'm just drawn to I'm thinking of the way I set up my hunting equipment, and it's very similar. I just don't. I'm probably eventually going to break down and do some kind of a war belt to teach with, just because there's so much. You want to have like a notepad, you want to have a shitload of mags, you want to have a timer, you want to have
Yeah, believe it or not, that's one of the reasons why I even have the dump pouch.
Right.
It's not. I mean, if I want to go tactical Timmy, right? Oddly enough, my name is Tim, but if I want to go tactical me, I certainly can. If I want to, dump empty mags in there, so I can use it as a dump pouch. But generally speaking, I end up putting extra mags, a bottle of water, notebook, pens, any type of like administrative support and logistical equipment usually ends up going in that thing.
Administrative support corgi.
I could probably put Georgie in there. Yeah.
I like this.
Photo challenge. I will try to get a picture of me wearing that war belt with Georgie in the dump pouch.
I like it. I'm sure he'll be perfectly still and have nothing negative to say about the experience.
If I fill it with Cheerios, he'll be down.
He'll have his ass sticking out the top of it with his snoot down in the Cheerio hole.
Yeah, well, why not?
I like it. He does have a corgi butt. He's adorable.
No, he is a corgi, so thank God. If he had a German Shepherd butt or a Doberman butt, it'd be really weird looking.
That would be a funny little dog.
Right.
So,
all that's flashing through my mind right now is one of those Family Guy skits where it's Noah on the ark with all the different animals. It's like, what the hell is this?
The elephant and the penguin, and he's like, we're going to have to feed it now. Name it, right? Oh, my God. I like it. So, dude, we actually did a really good job on playing holster games. I sung an impromptu lullaby that I'm sure my buddy won't cut out and use anywhere on the internet.
Oh, dude, that's my ringtone for you now. Are you kidding me?
That was pretty good. But yeah, good show. I think we've given some people some stuff to think about here anyway. Certainly not expansive. So not to promote brands or whatever, but Filster, Tier 1, Dark Star, Keepers, T-Rex, Safariland. Generally, you're not going to go wrong in those places. Black Rhino and Simply Rugged. Those are the brands that I like. As I think of what I pulled out of my bin, it didn't suck. That's what doesn't suck. So there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. So real quick, speaking of plugging brands, we should plug a few. www.greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links is where you can find all of the various affiliate links for the podcast, such as our friends at Primary Arms. If you follow those links to do your gun shopping, it will help us a little bit and it will cost you nothing extra. So please do that. Again, the link is www.greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links. Also on there are trusted and recommended training companies: Modern Samurai Project, Vigor Training, Evolution Training Solutions, Apache Solutions, Gunset, and Tim Heron Shooting, just to name a few. 360 performance, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're looking for other quality training besides me, you can go do that. There are a few spots open for this weekend's Personal Defense Rifle Essentials in Pine Grove, Pennsylvania with Green Mountain Defense. That's me, www.greenmountaindefense.com/training. And also, by extremely popular demand of sold-out beginner classes, we are doing another one-day handgun fundamentals here in Lewisberry, Pennsylvania on the 22nd of November. $100 whole dollars for 8 hours of training. www.greenmountaindefense.com/training for that as well. Handgun fundamentals in Lewisberry, PA. We would be remiss if we didn't mention Right On Optics, kind of our first love, the ones that brought us to the dance, if you will. They were nice to us. We were nice to them. They were on one side of the dance floor. We were on the other. We met in the middle awkwardly. It was great. But TJ and I are both members of the Right On Optics Pro staff. Visit rightonoptics.com for American veteran-owned optics solutions. They make pistol red dots. They don't suck. That's why I like them. So head on over to rightonoptics.com for that. Terry Davis at Dark Angel Medical, code BB15 at darkangelmedical.com will get you 15% off your order there. Mention the Sling'N Lead podcast in your order notes. We have an Amazon affiliate link as well. And check out our favorite charities, holdmyguns.org, Rachel's Rest. What was the Wide Smiles is the one that John from FPF put up. So check out those in the various descriptions below. Subscribe to our individual socials. TJ is the Lead Slinging Ginger. I am at Green Mountain Defense. So if you're looking for at Lead Slinging Ginger or at Green Mountain Defense, you'll probably find us there. TJ's making knives. Go buy TJ's knives. If you're a student in one of Apache Solutions classes and you do a drill real good, you might want a knife. So that's pretty cool. And I understand that our superfan MG Buxton's knife is done. Is that right?
It is. Matter of fact, I've got it boxed up right over here next to me. It's going out in the mail tomorrow.
Awesome, man. That's for who? His son?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it for his son. Yep.
That's really cool. So
yeah, man, that one came out really, really good. I was really pleased with that one.
Buy TJ's knives, dudes. Yeah. What did I miss, dude? Anything?
No, man, I think you got it covered. That was a really good job.
Yay, I did something good.
You want to sing again?
Come back to my...
No, you can stop that now. Okay. I was joking.
Okay.
I was joking.
Get us out of here, buddy.
All right, man. That's it for us, folks. Thank you for tuning in. As Kent mentioned, be sure to follow us on all the respective social media channels. If you are listening to this on your respective podcast player, maybe on your way to work, on your way home from work, and all the respective comings and goings that you have throughout the day, this was a very visual episode. Please head on over to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and watch along with us. Even if you don't get a chance to join in on the live show, we do keep these things up even on the YouTube channel. So every subscription helps, every thumbs up helps, every comment helps. And you know what? You get to see our smiling faces and laugh with us, maybe cry with us. It depends on who's telling the jokes. And you get to see all the amazing visual aids that come along with some of this stuff. While we can talk through a lot of it, sometimes we kind of have to show you a thing or two. But folks, we do love a lively chat. We love your comments. We love your questions. Feel free to post those. We'll be happy to curate them on the show and address them directly. If you are uncomfortable leaving a comment or submitting a question in an open forum, you could always email us at slingandleadpodcast@gmail.com. Both Kent and I monitor that email inbox, so we're happy to take any questions or comments via email as well. That's all we have the time. It's all we have time for this week, folks. Apparently, speaking clearly is something we ran out of time for too. That's all we have for this week, folks. Until we see each other again, God bless you all. Take care of each other and get out and shoot.
Bye, everybody.